Hello and welcome to the weekly Inside the Lab live Q&A experience, our weekly live show. It feels great to be here on another glorious Saturday here with the community. First and foremost, I got to shout out our replay viewers because it's one thing to experience the show live right here with me and with the community, but it's another to sit through and just hang out on the replay and take in the content as if you were present during the actual show. So welcome to the Inside the Lab live experience or our weekly live show. If this is your first time here and you want to learn more about building PCs and other gaming related stuff covered from a wide range of different topics, you're going to want to be sure to click the subscribe button down below. And if you're here with me right now, also on your way in or your way out, if you can't stay for the full duration of the show, I want to invite you to smash the like button for me. I hate to sound cliche, but hit the like button for us. It's going to help get this video in front of more eyes, even after the live show has concluded, because I do leave them up as is to try to recreate the live experience as much as possible. So also, if you have any questions throughout the duration of the show about anything we discuss, right, with today's topic, also do be sure to leave them down in the comment sections below with the timestamp, because I do double back, I check out the comments, and I very much still engage with the community if you were unable to be a live participant with us. And maybe you had a question about the topic, or maybe you heard a question throughout the duration of this live show that maybe you didn't think about or maybe you didn't consider, and you want a little bit more clarity on that topic or on that question, then also I welcome you to leave your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, if you are here with us live, welcome, welcome, welcome. I do appreciate our live crew, everybody that shows up. I want to jump really, really fast here in the chat and welcome everybody as we have more folks roll in on today's live show. Again, if this is your first time participating on the live show, also tell me down in the comment section, right on the replay or right here live with a hashtag first. But I see a lot of familiar faces that are starting to form in and file in, and that's great. Let me jump over really fast. I see Bad Habit, Sparta Rules, Z-Fluence. Good to see you, Zion. Zion says, "Hey, I'm back. I've been busy, so I couldn't join, but I'm back now." Yeah, Z-Fluence, stick around. This conversation could probably help you in your journey because I know you haven't given up. Not yet. Not at all. What am I talking about? Sparta Rule says, "What's up, brother? It's good to see you." Anthony, I'll be reaching out to you sometime before the conclusion of this weekend over on the gram. TMZ just filed in and said, "Hello, everyone. It's good to see you, TMZ. What's happening?" Bad Habit again says, "Hello, y'all. It's good to see you, folks. Thank you for joining us today here during today's live stream or and all of our live shows here. We've amassed quite the following on the live show, and not to deviate too far from the topic, but we are coming up on our 1 year anniversary of doing the live show, at least in this format. I haven't really changed it a great deal because I kind of wanted it to be grand and um, advantageous and just a spectacle once I do change the format of the show and just say some of the branding because, yeah, we're coming up on our 1 full year of doing a branded live show. The pop-up live streams aside, because those are, essentially like, raw and uncut and just a little bit more stylish, I guess, if you will, because we're talking about games and of course, I'm playing games. That's typically the only place we do that. But when it comes to having a meaningful, helpful conversation and discussion, we've been doing that right here on the live experience or on the live show. Coming up on a year in August because the first live show went up on August 19th. And when we did the 1 year anniversary celebration and I fired up some of the clips from the very first live stream, we saw some familiar names in that chat that are still present with us today. And that's just awesome. And I just want to take a moment out to say thank you for being active listeners and active participants and viewers here on the channel, especially for the live show, because that watch time is so precious. If you say, man, how can I support Inside the Lab? Right, even though it's not financially because I haven't opened up any like donation sites yet because really when it comes to wanting to support the brand and support me financially as a creator, I want to start with channel membership so you're at least offered something in return. But if any time donations do become a factor, we'll let you know. But for the most part, you can really support me more than with your money by just watching the videos and just engaging. It really goes a long way. So shout out to all of you who are present for this conversation. And for some of you, maybe you've already made that leap, right? Maybe you've already made that transition from console to PC gaming. But I welcome you to, at any point of this live show, at any point of this conversation, to share your experiences, right? Share your pain points, um, some of the issues you experienced when you made your transition from console to PC gaming. Chances are extremely high, right? Chances are extremely high that all of us, for the most part, started out on consoles and then migrated over to the PC as a platform. That's a lot of us, right? Even if I'm not sure a lot of the core audience is a little on the younger side, but that's especially if you started with consoles from like my generation, right? I was born in the mid '80s. My generation, our first console was the Atari, and then a little bit more mainstream was the Nintendo Entertainment System or the NES. So, I mean, those were very much consoles, and we played games like Mario, Donkey Kong, and other games, some like racing games, Dig Dug, games like that. But one of my favorite legacy consoles is the Sega Genesis, but I have some fond memories playing games on those consoles. Now, as that when I got older and I had disposable income, or I met friends, right? Or met friends who had gaming PCs, that's when I slowly started to say, you know what, this is the way you experience video games. Like this is the way, this is how you experience the best way to play a video game because video games are made on PCs for consoles and PCs. But we're going to talk about that a great deal throughout this conversation. Again, I just want to welcome you if you haven't yet to hit the like button for me. Hit the like button on this video, and if you're new, right? I'm talking to our unsubscribed viewers. If you're new, hopefully during this live show, I would have been entertaining or educational enough to have earned your subscription here to the channel. We must be saying or doing something right, y'all, because man, I don't really look at the analytics a great deal, only when it's purpose driven. But man, have we? I don't know if it's a YouTube glitch, but we've lost a few along the way here, as of recently. So, but that's okay because if you don't stand for something, nobody's going to be willing to stand with you. But as of recently, especially on the channel and on the lives, I meant everything I've said, from how larger tech influencers or tech YouTubers have approached the situation, right, with PC gaming and how its growth has been stagnated, to just my belief in not fully entertaining the scalpers and their crazy prices, right? Their crazy inflated prices, but it's all good. All right, I'm not the type of person to get caught up on who left or who's no longer here. I'm a big fan of of the people who are here right now, not the ones that left, right? Because that's what matters. The ones who decide to stay are the ones that subscribe to, not just subscribing to the channel, but you're subscribing to a message, you're subscribing to a mission, right? You're subscribing to a community. We are one community, and here, as of recently, over on the gram, I've been using the hashtag community strong. I don't know if any other creators have been using it, haven't seen it, so I'm taking the cool points for it now. We're going to throw it on some merch. Today I'm not wearing any merch. We got my Tube Buddy shirt on that was sent over to my guy, Rob Balasabas, fellow creator. And full disclosure, he works over there at Tube Buddy, but he did send me over some cool merch and swag. So shout out to Rob Balasabas and the folks over at Tube Buddy. TMZ says we didn't have a lot of money getting an Atari 5200. That fell off the truck. What a big deal. Man, you gotta love those off, them deals that come off the back of the truck, man. Those are some of the best. Those are some of the best deals. I didn't have one either, but my uncle, who was a little bit more well off than my parents, right, my father, he did have one. So when I played the Atari, we always had to go over his house. Like, we didn't physically own the console. In fact, I believe the first console my family owned as like as a household, where I didn't have to get up and go somewhere to play it, was the Sega Genesis. So that's the only console I really remember, like waking up with my bowl of cereal and firing up some Sonic or what have you, Streets of Rage, and with Nintendo and Super Nintendo that came after, I had to I usually had to go over like a relative's house or a friend's house to really play games on there. But yeah, man, them back of the truck deals, you gotta love them, but be careful. But couldn't agree more, TMZ. And I tell you what, fam, while we have more people roll in, we're going to quickly go over everybody's favorite segment, right? And that's just one of the ways, or I guess directly, and this is subject to change here as the content shift, or the content strategy shifts here on the channel. I am on a path to being a full-time media creator. I guess that correlates to being a full-time YouTuber. But I am on a path, so these things are eventually leading up to larger ways to support the channel and to help keep the content flowing. But for starters, if you haven't yet, and this is also to my replay viewers, if you haven't yet, you're going to want to subscribe to our email list. It's totally free. Only thing I need is your email address and your first name, so we know where to send your mail. Excuse me, and of course how to address you or what to call you. Now, community and unity, it does start with you. And this platform, YouTube and other social media sites, their notification systems can be better. They're not great, YouTube's especially. I normally say this during all of our live streams, especially during this segment, but I've had members of this audience, core members of this audience, come to me and tell me that the notifications either went out after the live stream, they didn't get the notification at all on some of the videos and some of the live streams. So this can be detrimental to the channel's growth, right? Because like I mentioned, watch time is so important. So getting notified of the live streams or any special live events that we have come up, or for example, our pop-up live stream series, which if you didn't know, yeah, I just sometimes go live unscheduled to continue our pop-up live stream series where we play a game. This for this segment we've been playing Alien Isolation, which I think we're near the end, so you know what that means. Again, subscribe if you want to catch that kind of content, hit the notification bell, but most importantly, sign up for our email list so you won't have to rely, or we won't have to rely on YouTube delivering those notifications, or even Instagram and Twitter delivering those new notifications. I have a lot of upcoming programming programming content, or just content in general, coming to the channel that you're going to want to be notified, especially if you haven't been receiving some of the notifications on the content. So sign up for the email list. It's totally free, and you are welcome to unsubscribe at any time should I be deemed unworthy to grace your glorious inbox. And all of these links that I'm going to quickly go over, you will be able to find down in the description box below, along with additional helpful links with products that we will discuss later on throughout the duration, or later on the live stream, throughout the duration of the live stream. So that was one. Sign up for our email list, totally free. This is one way to also get an invite to our Discord before it goes behind a paywall. If channel memberships are something you are not interested in, or say not interested in supporting me as a creator, it's totally fine. Regardless if I am able to unlock them here on YouTube, um, there will be a two front channel membership subscription model over on Patreon and YouTube, with both offering different benefits, with which I could tell you now the Patreon subscription side will be a lot more intimate. So keep a lookout for that. Email subscribers will get notification first about channel memberships launch and their upcoming development. So check out the email list. And then merch, everybody's favorite way to support a creator, right? No cap. But listen, you can support me as a creator, me as a content creator, with a sticker as low as $4.99. You can slap it on your notebook, you can slap it on your wall, your PC, your case, doesn't matter. But we have a wide range of products over here on the merch store, right? Which is the inside the lab. It kind of was in beta because I said, you know what? I constantly feel like I feel like the merch store should constantly be evolving and adding new products and new designs. So that is something that I will continue to do, especially now that it's hot here over in the States, or where I'm located in the States, but that doesn't mean it's hot where you are. We got a lot of foreign friends and fam, and Teespring does ship all over the globe. I know in our anniversary live stream, Tricion had won some merch, and I was able to ship it to him directly to him over in the Netherlands. So check out the merch. We have some pretty interesting branded gear over there, like the No Player in the Wild t-shirt, the I Know I'm a Handful, but that's why you got two hands graphic edition. This one is actually my mom's favorite. And the eye test limited edition, I Am a PC Gamer white edition hoodie. I believe it's only in hoodie. I don't think this is in t-shirt. Yeah, see, it's only in. Oh, yep, I stand corrected. It is. It is in t-shirt. It is in a T variant. So, but it is also a limited edition. So if that's more of your flavor, more of your style, this won't be left up long. It is the only white variant or white clothing that we have on the merch store currently, with more to come. I just wanted to leave different colors as like limited editions. And also I want to quickly plug this in, that when and if you do consider signing up to be a channel member on either Patreon or here on YouTube, higher tiers will receive a limited edition channel membership inside the lab t-shirt, free of no cost. It comes with your membership after 1 month of being a channel member at that tier. So just keep that in mind. But like I said, a lot of fun, interesting rewards and ways to just that will allow me to get closer to the community, that will be integrated into channel memberships. And then last but not least, we have our website, right? Which is an extension of essentially all of the content brought to you in one place. You can you can watch the replays of last week's live show, right? If you maybe say again didn't get the notification on YouTube, or maybe there's a weird YouTube glitch and it's not on my home page or my video page, you can always jump back here to the website. This updates 1 week after the live show has already gone up. For example, this live show will likely appear between now and Monday over on the website. And the same thing applies for the most recent video that I've launched, which is a highlight. The highlights, I consider the highlights an experiment, so bear with me on the highlights, but there are some key moments during our live shows that aren't as accessible to a larger part of the audience, either because they're bandwidth limited and they can't watch the live streams, for example, they can't commit to a more than 30-minute live stream or 20-minute video, if you will. So I look for some of those moments, right? Some of those highlight moments, and try to break them down in videos that are easier to digest and easier to consume, say between 7 and 10 minute long videos, or maybe even shorter, so long as the take, right, during the live stream is relevant and could inform or help someone in the community or multiple people in the community, excuse me, make an informed decision with their build or with their system. For example, this highlight covered understanding your monitor's refresh rate. So I'm going to continue to drop more highlights just to continue to see uh, what the success in terms of metrics and views that they bring. Now, at first, I toyed with the idea of actually moving them over to a separate channel, but I'm focused on growing this channel first and foremost. But anyway, I digress. Back on to the housekeeping segment. All three of these websites, you can find the links down in the description box below, again, with additional helpful links that will either inspire you or inform you to make an informed decision, or say if maybe you're in a weird place and you're ready to upgrade a core component within your system and you're unsure of where to start, where to go. A lot of helpful information down in the description box below. Again, not only just talking to our friends and fam that are here with us right now on the live stream, but also our replay viewers. So shout out to both groups. But there you have it. That is our housekeeping segment. Again, check out all of those links down in the description box below. Ooh, sweating. And oh, okay, we see Zfluence says, I've been waiting so long because I don't have any money for PC parts, mainly GPU and CPU. Yeah, and I mean, saving money can seem like a slow and, just a slow and daunting task or procedure, simply because you have to start slow, and sometimes it's hard to see realize the goal without seeing some tangible parts of development, right? And what I'm trying to say is, when you're saving up money, you have to start obviously with maybe a small pile of cash, depending on what your savings goal is, and starting with 20 bucks and then 40 bucks and 60 bucks, say over a 60-day period. That may not seem like a lot, but once you start to scale that up, say 60 and 90, next thing you know, you're looking at maybe about a $300 to $400 savings that's continuously growing, right? That you're just adding pools and pools of hard liquidated cash into. But Zfluent, just keep saving. Keep saving. The GPU situation slightly is what it is. I know before this live stream, I was, you know, casually, casually gracing the used market over on the Facebook Marketplace and OfferUp here in our general area Zfluent. Where we where we are located. But there were some GPUs, right? That was like, I saw a 1050 Ti selling for 200 bucks. Now, that's still slightly high for that graphics card, but it's about, and I would say it's probably about $80 more than what it's worth, about $60 to $80 more than what it's worth. But at $200, there's still some value there, even with that graphics card. That's just essentially its value has been lowered, I guess you could say, due to the 1650 and the 1650 Super at a slightly higher price point. For example, in normal times, it would make way more sense to buy the $169 1650 Super, say, versus paying $200 for a 1050 Ti. So that's what hurts, fam. That's why you got to continue to save up and continue to monitor the GPU situation, or follow, influencers like myself to help you understand how much you may need to save to even achieve your goal, right? Your goal is to get a graphics card and a CPU, more importantly, for your motherboard that's compatible with your chipset. And if you weren't a part of that conversation, friends and fam, for those of you who are here live and our replay viewers, if you weren't here for that part of the conversation, I highly recommend you give last week's live stream a watch over on the replay. A lot of helpful information there that could, help you better understand shopping or what goes into shopping for a CPU, right? And most importantly, finding one that's compatible with your motherboard, especially when you can take full advantage of features like having an unlocked processor or PCIe 3.0 or PCIe 4.0 if you're on a more modern chipset. So keep saving up, Zfluent. Keep saving up. Um, I know you said it just feels like it's so long, but just like you mentioned, it just it says you like you said I've been waiting so long because I don't have any money. But that's kind of an oxymoron because what is so long, right? What's another 2 3 months? If you could save say $200 in 3 months, can you try to save another additional $250 in say 2 months time or 2.5 months time? That can get you to your goal of having enough cash to buy a CPU that's compatible with your motherboard and even a GPU that may not be on the newer end, but maybe even somewhere along the lines of say a 380, right? An R9 380X or a 290X or a 280X, something along the lines of that GPU class to where with at least 3 to 4 gigabytes of VRAM, you're able to play games at 1080p, maybe even low settings or low to medium settings depending on the game. But again, Zfluent, my understanding is you are looking to play demanding games, so you at first with your first build, you don't need a high-end graphics card. You really don't even need a mid-tier graphics card. You can start with like a lower-tiered graphics card, maybe even an RX 480 or an RX 470 or an RX 460, somewhere along the lines of that price category. But that's still like in a realm of between 250 to $350. So it really depends on too how much money you have and your ability to save up that money continuously. The GPU problem, I mean, we talked about this on the pop-up live stream. The GPU problem has started to improve, right? Due to a report published by a German retailer site, I believe it was 3D Center. They published a report that highlighted GPU, and I won't be long on it, but they published a report that highlighted GPU prices fell and well, they peaked at a price of 114% over MSRP in May, but by the beginning of June, it dropped to about 81%. It balanced out to about 81%. So that's a heck of a decline, and I really see that continuing to be a trend going down the road here in 2021. So prices even on the used market, Zfluent, can stabilize here very quickly. So even then, you still would want to be prepared and have the capital should graphics cards, even on the used market, start to just kind of level out and fall back to their original market value, right? Because there was at one point I saw RX. I was rewatching the replay from a previous live stream, an older live stream we did back in October, I believe, of 2020, and I saw RX 580s, 8 gigabyte RX 580s going for 209, 200, 220. So when even graphics cards like that Polaris based GPU, which does support SFR, right? Even graphics cards in that category, you got to be ready to pull the trigger when they start to become available at anything close to what their original market value offering is, which is about a 200 to $250 graphics card. Which even as the tech demic starts to improve, we could maybe see RX 580s dropping down under $400, under $350. That'd be a flexible price enough, like below that even 400 to $450 price point that we had recommended with the $1,400 gaming setup live stream we did, right? But Zfluent, just keep saving your money. This too will pass, and we will get through the GPU tech demic as stock becomes more available and graphics cards start to offer or at least being sold too close to MSRP. But what I'm more thrilled about, and we talked about this on that pop-up live stream, which we left the live stream up as it is, fam, it's still very much a great vid, right? Like a great watch. We kind of talked about that article we covered. So yeah, I definitely would recommend you watch that, watch that live stream. Head over to the playlist that says Inside the Labs live stream specials. Watch that live stream. Fast forward to about 10, 15 minutes. Or I need to add, I'm actually going to do that this week. I need to add video chapters to that live stream because we talked about the article that I just mentioned. And it was published by Tech Radar. So, yeah, I mean, this too will pass. We'll get over to GPU Tectemic and, we will hopefully start to see the growth spike increase instead of this downward V. Hopefully it makes that V. I forgot the marketing term for it, but we need the now the growth in PC gaming has kind of dropped down here and it's just slowly decreasing. New builders aren't able to finish their or builds are being left unfinished. Gamers are unable to upgrade to modern hardware that will allow them to play or run modern games, right? And so that has caused the growth in PC gaming to just kind of just dip. Now we need that to make that sharp V. Now we need that to accelerate and go back up. But in order to do that, we need we need stock to be more widely available. We need pricing to drop to where it's affordable for even lower entry builds. Now, a entry build costs you somewhere along the lines of over a stack, over a grand. Whether it's budget or not, if you want a dedicated video card, you are setting aside at least $500 for a graphics card. And chances are it's not the graphics card you want. At $500, you're not in an RTX 30 series category. Okay? You're likely not even in a 20 series graphics card category, as I believe the RTX 2060 was even still selling for close to 500 to 600 bucks, right? Which is way over what that graphics card should be selling right now. For an RTX 2060, that graphics card should cost you no more than about $300 with its 6 gigabytes of VRAM, GDDR6 VRAM. But that's not the case. Sadly, they're still very much being sold to about 50 to 60% above MSRP, or what we like to call here in this community, it's market, it's value market offering or fair market offering, however you want to brand the term. But pretty much whatever value that used component has to offer somebody who's either say looking to upgrade their build. Let's say that's in the case of a GTX 980 Ti. If you had a GTX 980 Ti and you were say able to upgrade to an RTX 2080 Ti, of course that GTX 980 Ti you've already used up all of the value. It has no more value for you, but it does say to somebody who's on a sixth or fifth generation NVIDIA GeForce graphics card or a much older NVIDIA, or I'm sorry, a much older AMD graphics card, or let's say they don't have a dedicated video graphics card at all. Could you imagine the performance uplift, say going from a 980 Ti to a Intel integrated oh my gosh, if you're into Intel integrated graphics, anything's probably going to be a level up over the alternative. And the same thing goes with AMD integrated graphics, which with Ryzen and the Vega 8 and Vega 11 GPUs, the 2200G, 2400G, 3400G, and now the 5700G. We're going to talk about those more a little bit during this live stream because they're super relevant to the conversation. But we talked about them a great deal in a few live streams back. So again, always good information over in the description box below. Always welcome you to uh, bounce down there below at any point, or of course at the end, or if you need to go and you want more inside the lab and you can't stay around, there is a video pinned in the live chat at the top of the live chat. That's the Doomsday Clock video. That video was a blast to shoot, and if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend you give it a watch either at the conclusion of this live stream, or if you got to dip out and say, yeah, I can't really stay in for the live stream, but I do want to check out that video. Save it to your watch later. It's an awesome read, or I'm sorry, an awesome watch. Ayush, Yadav. Okay, I'm so sorry. I apologize in the future for butchering your name, Yadov. But Yadov says, which country? And I hope you're still with us, Yadov, for one to roast me for possibly butchering your name, but to also clarify your question. And I want to respond by saying, well, I am located in the States. Um, Everything in terms of, say, currency will be referred to in U.S. dollars, but I am over in the States, And again, anybody else, if you're just now joining us, which I see we had Cliff XLR Gaming that just checked in and said, "What's up, homies?" or "Word up, homies." It's good to see you, Cliff. But anybody else, if you're watching, regardless of where you at across the globe, tell me where you are watching from. I know we have a few Californians in the house. I want to say a Texan. Yeah, yep, we do have a Texan in the house. Um, and a few members in the community that are spread out all over the globe. But essentially, if you're new and we haven't had the opportunity to fellowship and rap with you, tell us where you're located, tell us where you're from. We've already did our housekeeping or our house cleaning, and I just want to remind you again that all of the links I mentioned and reference are down in the description box below at any time. Not yet though, because I do want you to stick around. We got a lot of helpful information to cover here in this live stream. And with that said, I tell you what, we're going to jump right into it because this is such a talked about topic and conversation, which I see. Okay, yep, Houston, Texas, and Zesty says Puerto Rico. Oh, it's good to see you, Zesty. Okay, okay, Puerto Rico in the house. Nice. Okay, PR. Dope, dope. All right, so see, I love it. We have viewers all over the globe in all different parts of the planet. And sorry about that. And that's just awesome. And I love just talking to and engaging with different people and just different cultures and all that good stuff, man. It's one of the beautiful factors of working online, right? Being a content creator and just creating content online or for the masses. But let's jump right into the conversation. And thank you for checking in. Let me know where you, ladies and gentlemen, are watching and tuning in from. But let's jump right into it. As the title implies, we are discussing in today's live stream, today's live experience, the transition from console to PC gaming. Okay, and but most importantly, what you should know or what you need to know. Now, again, beginning of the live stream, I did mention that some of you may have already made the transition. Excuse me, have already made the transition from console to PC gaming as a platform. And I welcome you at any point to share in your pain points of what you experienced making that transition and how hard or easy it was for you, because essentially we all started with playing on consoles. And at one point, we all migrated over to PCs. Now, making the jump from console to PC gaming takes more than just faith these days, right? With a decent number of, or with a decent and affordable GPU being hard to find or finding one at all, and with the many options you have to choose from, right? Much kind of like what we talked about in last week's live stream with choosing having the different motherboard chipsets you have to choose from: X570, B550, B450, Intel LGA 1200, LGA 1151, 1151 V2, 8th generation, ninth generation, 10th generation not being compatible on the same motherboard as 8th and ninth generation. There are a lot of factors and options you have to take into consideration when you are considering making this transition. And I want to also invite, those of you whom have already made that transition to share your experiences once more, because it could help a fellow member in this community or a fellow viewer right now on the live stream. It could help them with any grievances they may have towards starting this journey, because it is challenging and right now it is expensive. But the best view comes from the hardest climb, fam. And so if you're prepared to overcome such obstacles, a lot of the things we've been talking about here on this channel or here as a community, even off the channel, but if you're willing to overcome some of those obstacles and you're willing to brave the deep and discover the possibilities of PC gaming, regardless, right? Regardless of where you are at in your journey. You could have already made the transition. You could be in the middle of the transition. Hey, you could even be stuck in limbo to where you've been on legacy hardware and you've long wanted to upgrade since, say, 20 series generation, or the RX 590, because really AMD didn't really give us anything super competitive. Well, I stand corrected because the 5700 XT was a brilliant graphics card that even still to this day should be a relevant and brilliant graphics card, but not at the price point that is being offered. That too is a graphics card that I would say um, at its price point, which I see Zesty mentioned something about buying a GTX 1070 when it knows that good. I believe the GTX 1070 is a great graphics card, and I'll get to your question here in a second as we conclude the warm up. But regardless of where you are at in your journey, whether you're stuck in limbo wanting to upgrade your graphics card, or you want to get into PC gaming and you're well aware of the issues gamers are having with procuring graphics cards, both new and used graphics cards. You are aware of all of these issues, but you're still willing to again brave the deep and discover the possibilities of PC gaming, right? The pinnacle of gaming. What are some steps you should take next before ultimately taking your next step? Now, that's exactly what we are discussing during this live show, while of course answering any and all of your questions along the way. And once again, if this is your first time here, again, I am Terrence, your host, conductor, and operator of this here live experience or live show. And with that out the way, let's get the show on the way and start the ride and jump right into the meat and bones of the content. But first, let me answer Zesty's question really fast here. Zesty says, "I want to buy a GTX 1070. Is that good?" Well, how much are you able to buy this GTX 1070? Um, the GTX 1070 as a graphics card, as a Pascal mid-series graphics card or 70 series graphics card, is capable of high or at least 60 plus FPS high setting gaming, and even most games still right now in 2021, and is fast enough to pair with a higher end CPU, for example. Zesty says, "Well, I bought the Core i7 9700K. It's the 8 core, 8 thread ninth generation Intel CPU, 32 gigabytes of DDR4, 3600 megahertz memory, 500 gigabyte SSD, 2 terabyte HD, 650 watt power supply unit, Z390 chipset gaming edge motherboard. I want to buy the GTX 1070 or 1080. Either one of those graphics cards would be a fine pairing for that system, especially with its core, that 9700K, and that Z390 chipset. Either one of those graphics cards would be fast enough as they came out during the 6th and 7th series generation of Intel CPUs. So with the 9700K, it'd be a fantastic pairing. But again, how much are you able to procure that GTX 1070 and or GTX 1080? Last time I checked, the GTX 1080 especially was selling for a price that made it hard for me to recommend. I essentially stopped over on Nvidia's side with the GTX 1070, which on average was selling for about $450, which the video was circled or the video was centered around um, you know, buying a graphics card with a budget of under $500. So that budget, that limitation put us over anything past the GTX 1070. We barely were able to get lucky and say find a 1660 non-TI, non-super variant for even under that price point. It just didn't happen. So it could, I mean, Zesty, how much are you getting the GTX 1070 or GTX 1080 for? Do let me know. Cliff or XLR8 Gaming says you should take stock of what kind of gamer you are. Do you play esports? Do you play old retro PC titles or new AAA, etc., etc.? Why resolution? What resolution you are interested in? And yeah, Cliff makes a very valid point. And I tell you what, on the spirit of that, and great questions, Zesty. Keep the questions going at any point or any time of this live stream um, about anything we discuss during the live show. And again, for our replay viewers, if you made it this far, you too as well, leave your comments down in the comment section below about anything we talk about. I jump back and I will definitely do my best to answer your questions. Cliff says, off topic, but Newegg has Threadripper 1900X for $200. Oh, nice. Okay, 8 core, 16 thread, first generation Threadripper. That's not bad. That's not bad at all, especially if one would want to break foot over onto the HDDT market and find a motherboard that's compatible with both first generation Ryzen and TRX 40 chipset, which I'm not sure if TRX 40 supports first generation Threadripper, but if it did or if it does, that'd be fantastic. Like, I know when I'm ready to upgrade Core Shredder, I've considered like just platform hopping or switching over to X299. I'm not really quite sure what we're going to do with Core Shredder, but that's not a bad deal at all, especially if someone was looking for a high performance gaming chip to render video, stream, do all of those things, and want to take advantage of the extra PCIe lanes. Not a bad price. And Zesty says I found some for like 400, but I don't know. Yeah, that's, don't get me wrong. I want to say that's not bad, but it is bad. But all things considered, right? Especially the tech demic, all things considered, that's not that bad. Um, at $400, it's still not worth it. The GTX 1070, 8 GB, it's not worth $400. It's simply because there were faster offerings that came out after the GTX 1070. Doesn't make it irrelevant, no, because at one point I think it was a what, 349 or $449 graphics card, something to that extent. Um, so at one point it was a higher end graphics card. It's just its value should have slightly lowered because there were other offerings that were faster at a lower price. But in terms of availability, it's not bad. But uh, for a GTX 1070 at $400, you're probably not going to find them that much lower. In fact, that's actually, I haven't seen them. I haven't seen a GTX 1070 for $400 in quite a while now. Typically, they've all been about, well, it's not too far off from what I've seen them, but I haven't really seen them any lower than $450 here as of recently. So, Zesty, if it's to complete your build, right, I say go for it. It'll be a fantastic card to hold you over, at least and definitely for the next 6 months to a year, right? What kind of games do you play, Zesty? As Cliff mentioned, that it's good to take stock of what kind of gamer you are and what type of resolution and titles you want to play. So that's also very much an important factor to take into consideration when making the determination if that GTX 1070 is worth it for your situation. A lot of Asians going on there. But what kind of games do you play, Zesty? Also, let us know, um, as that is also important to our recommendation for you. But all right, let's switch back here. Now, jumping back over into, because we already opened up with the title and the warm up from console to PC gaming and what you should know. Now, not only that, but what makes the journey worthwhile and what simply does it? And we're going to start with our first argument, Your Honor, right? Like, let's bring it up to the table. Zesty says, anybody here sells GPUs? Not to my knowledge. I could tell you now, though, Zesty, I'm not sure if you're located or where, where your locale is, but if you're able to check sites like the Facebook Marketplace, if you have access to it, or sites like OfferUp, Craigslist, or similar sites, similar sites where people barter and trade used appliances or used electronics. Start there because chances are there are opportunists lurking and just waiting to jump on selling you an overpriced graphics card. Now, not to my knowledge, there could be somebody in the audience that does, but I could tell you now, you could also probably fare much better by being an active member in, say, Facebook groups that specialize in that particular thing where you can post that you're looking for. But I could tell you now, everybody's essentially looking for a graphics card. The largest secondhand market I would point you toward is eBay. But again, that also depends on where you are located. And I see you said, I want to play COD, Fortnite, GTA. I'm assuming by COD you mean Warzone, Fortnite, GTA 5, Tomb Raider in 1080p or 1440p. The 1070 might, struggle with games that like with Tomb Raider and Warzone at 1440p. Um, it has enough VRAM, but it's simply not faster than a 1080, which would also kind of struggle to run those games at 1440p. This also depends on your graphics setting, though, too. You could always lower your graphics setting if you wanted to, say, play Warzone at 1440p low settings, because it's essentially a competitive game and you're not playing necessarily for the eye candy. You could gain a double-digit FPS boost by at that resolution by just maybe lowering your settings and you would be still taking advantage of that 8 GB VRAM buffer simply because you're running the game at a higher resolution, so it still needs to render higher textures, higher environment, meshes and materials on the environments and things of that nature. But if at that resolution, try to target the 1080. If you have the extra spins to do it, it might, in my opinion, it might run you an extra $100 to $200. So again, this could depend on the type of gamer you are and how much you want to invest in that experience. Do you fancy games at higher resolutions, or are you more of an FPS? You more in it for the FPS game. Excuse me, in the competitive edge, right? Do you value refresh rate versus high fidelity graphics? It depends on that answer. Will depend on if you're willing to spend the extra amount of money to be able to run your games at a higher graphic settings at 1440p. But I can tell you now at 1080p, that'll be a well balanced system, right? And Joshua F, it's good to see you, Joshua F. I don't think we've had the opportunity of rapping with you and talking. So welcome to the live show, Joshua. Joshua says, if I have an R5 1600, so first generation Zen CPU, 6 core, 12 thread, boost clock frequency, I believe 3.6 gigahertz up to 4 gigahertz or 3.7 gigahertz. Okay, I've read on it a little bit. Yep. Excuse me. On a stock cooler, so the Wraith Stealth, I believe, and a Gigabyte RX 580, 8 gigabyte. I got them since